Ascene.org brings you The Music Industry Does Not Hate AI. It hates AI it cannot control. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to unpack a massive, fundamental shift happening right now in the music business. And we are going to cut right through all the noise, the fear, and the PR spin.
You know, that title alone really sets the tone for exactly what we are diving into today. What we're looking at is a truly eye-opening analysis of what's actually happening behind closed doors between the major labels and artificial intelligence.
So let's just get right into the big question. Why is the industry warning you about the future while quietly buying stock in it? It seems like every single time a new technology shows up, the official story fed to independent artists is just fear. The industry tells you, hey, this new tool is dangerous, it's cheap, it's terrible for music. But, as you'll see, once that panic does its job, that very same industry magically finds a way to own it. Look at the sheer hypocrisy here. On the public side, the message is that AI is bad for music. But the private strategy, completely different story. Behind the scenes, the major labels literally view AI as a massive new revenue model. They just want to make sure they build the toll booths and control the access before independent artists figure out how powerful these tools actually are.
And honestly, this isn't a new playbook. It's a historical pattern. Think about it. In 1999, downloads were the enemy. Fast forward to 2008, and it was streaming. In 2012, social media was disrupting the gatekeepers. And now, looking at 2026 and beyond, it's artificial intelligence. The industry's absolute favorite trick is to call something a lethal threat right up until the exact moment they figure out how to charge rent on it.
To put this all into perspective, you have to understand the money at stake here. Global recorded music revenue hit $31.7 billion in 2025, and in that exact same report from the IFPI, they outright stated that record companies are actually at the forefront of AI innovation. They are actively developing licensing models to capture even more of that wealth. Let's be real, that is not an anti-AI position. That is a we want to own the entire business model position. And watch how incredibly fast this pivot happens. In June 2024, the RIA launched these massive, highly publicized lawsuits against AI platforms like Suno and Udio. But then, look at what happens just over a year later. October 2025, Universal Music Group suddenly settles with Udio to build a licensed platform. November 2025, Warner Music Group announces a partnership with Suno, and Clayvision inks massive licensing deals with almost all the majors. See, the industry doesn't actually want AI stopped, it wants AI licensed.
All right, moving on to Section 1, redefining the threat, separating exploitative automation from smart business.
Now, to be completely fair, the industry isn't wrong when they say AI can be heavily abused. Get this, as of April 2026, the streaming platform Deezer reported receiving 75,000 fully AI-generated tracks every single day. 75,000. That is absolutely polluting the royalty pool. It's a very real economic threat to real working artists, which is exactly why we need to make a very clear distinction here.
We have to draw a hard line. On one side, you've got exploitative AI. This is the garbage we should all absolutely fight against. Unlicensed training, fake bans, unauthorized voice cloning, and synthetic spam specifically designed to steal royalties. But on the flip side, we have artist-controlled AI. This is using AI for fan analytics, smart tour planning, and merch forecasting. Lumping these two things into the same bucket is the exact tactic the industry uses to keep independent artists confused and weak. So let's properly define what we mean by that. Artist-controlled AI is simply using artificial intelligence as a business intelligence layer over an artist's own career and fan data. The real AI revolution for indie artists, it isn't about pushing a magic button to make a fake song. No way. The real revolution is using AI as your own personal, hyper-smart business assistant to finally make sense of your data.
Let's dive into Section 2, Copyright versus Fan Data, the two doors of independence.
The public fight you constantly see in the headlines, that's all about the front door, copyright. And yes, defending your masters and your publishing is incredibly important. But fan data, well, that's the back door. A master recording tells you what you currently own, but your fan data tells you exactly where the money can come from next. And this right here is where independent artists have a truly massive opportunity.
Understanding this contrast is absolutely vital for your career. The platform model, it wants you dependent. You're just renting attention from some algorithm on Spotify or TikTok, meaning the platform holds all the power. But the artist-owned model, that makes you dangerous, because when you have direct communication through your own website and your own email list, you actually own the data. You aren't just guessing anymore. So how do you actually use this stuff? You use AI as your indie back office. Just look at these actionable steps. You can use tools to analyze complex fan surveys, map out optimal tour routes based on where your listeners actually live, build merch profit calculators, and perfectly segment your email campaigns. It literally replaces all that exhausting, unpaid administrative labor that leads to so much indie artist burnout. Basically, it replaces the confusion with clarity.
Which brings us to Section 3, Building the Indie Middle Class, from Attention to Revenue.
Okay, here is the exact blueprint recommended by makingascene.org. Think of it as a funnel. Step 1 is capturing attention out there on the social platforms. Step 2 is converting that attention into ownership by bringing those fans home to your website. Step 3 is capturing their data. Step 4 is using AI to make really smart business decisions based on that data. And Step 5, that directly results in revenue. Let's look at how that actually works in practice, because connecting your fragmented data to an AI action is a total game changer. Say you see a spike in Spotify signals in a specific city. AI can help you precisely target local ads there. Or if you download your Bandcamp sales data, AI can forecast exactly which merch bundles are going to sell best. By running your Eventbrite data through an AI, you can plan much smarter tour routing. It's all about turning raw numbers into actionable money-making strategies.
But to pull this off, you need a solid home base. Building the artist's home ecosystem is critical. You need an owned website hub, email and SMS capture, and a way to do direct merch and ticket sales. Makingascene.org specifically highlights awesome innovations like the coming fan passport system. Imagine a fan scans a QR code at your show, earns a stamp, buys some merch, and boom, their physical action becomes actionable digital data. Your AI then steps in and makes that entire ecosystem stronger.
The stakes we're talking about here are massive. Look at this. In 2025, global recorded music income showed that nearly 70% of all revenue came from streaming. The money is huge, but the glaring problem is that almost all of that money gets captured by gatekeepers and middlemen long before it ever reaches the actual working artist. And that right there is exactly why independent artists cannot afford to let AI become streaming part 2.
And finally, Section 4, Owning the Artist Ecosystem. The final battle for the future.
So I really have to ask you, are you just standing outside the room waiting to be invited in? Are you really going to wait around for the major labels to finish building their walled garden AI platforms just so they can sell you access back to your own career? Or are you going to take control and use AI right now as a weapon of independence to build an unshakable, data-driven business that you completely own?
Ultimately, the choice is entirely up to you. Make sure you check out the other great articles and resources on makingascene.org, the place the indie artist goes to build the new music industry. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll see you next time.